Coming up on another time-traveling edition of Club 904. Yes, I am not in the Action Sports Jack studios. We're back at the Ritz-Carlton in Amelia Island. But rest assured, this time we are not in the broom closet. This go-round, we are at ACC Meetings, not ACC Media Days. My apologies on the title. We have anything could happen here on Media Row at ACC Meetings, including the fact that I have two podcasts going simultaneously. My co-host Mitch is literally sitting across the table from me for the Women's Basketball Podcast, so we may have to leave at one point, come on back. But the good news, we caught up with TJ Bollers, undrafted free agent rookie for your Jacksonville Jaguars along that defensive line. We also have the notebook from rookie minicamp. We're going to run through that as well. A whole heck of a lot to do here on today's edition of Club 904. Welcome to today's edition of Club 904. I am your host, Mia O'Brien. As always, we remind you guys to like, subscribe to the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. That is where we are syndicated. Also a reminder, you still have a 7 free day trial, if you haven't taken advantage already, awaiting you at the Mo Bryan NFL Notebook on Patreon. That is where my notebooks, my notes from practices are transcribed, are written down into the written word. As we see some of the women's basketball coaches leaving the meeting room, want to give you guys a disclaimer. Again, two podcasts going on simultaneously. So at some point in time, we're going to leave. Sean Poppy from Clemson, the head coach of the women's basketball team, is going to step in here with Mitch. You guys will get to hear from TJ Bollers, again, the undrafted free agent along the defensive line for the Big Cats out of Cal. Great interview. Of course, I covered him when he was in high school in Iowa at Clear Creek Amana High School, went on to Wisconsin, then to Cal. And so we've got a lot of moving parts on today's show. But before we go any further, and while we await those moving parts and producing two different podcasts at once, and as he does sit down, I do want to remind you, I started last week's show with a question. We're going to answer that question when we return. But first things first, let's hear from one of those Jaguars rookies from rookie. Actually, hold on. Sean's going to head to the bathroom. So we are actually going to answer that question. Again, this is the beauty of live TV, live podcasting, folks. A reminder, too, because we are live, if you have a question, if you have a comment, a thought from rookie minicamp, I see Daniel's already hanging out in Club 904. Make sure you leave that comment over on our YouTube channel. And also a reminder that the Upshot League season kicks off later this week. We do have the coaches show for the Upshot League called Talk It Up Mondays on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. So I want to remind you guys to get in on the conversation there too. But as mentioned, executive producer, fan of the show, our good friend Anthony Bonelli reminded me that on last week's preview episode of Rookie Minicamp, I told you guys there are two big questions I ask each and every year when I go to Jaguars Rookie Minicamp. Do these guys look like they belong? And off the line of scrimmage, can the wide receiver create separation? Do we see get off from the defensive end? And do we see some sort of pushback from the offensive lineman holding up in pass protection? And from the defensive back, do we see a quick first step in attacking that wide receiver who gets off the line quickly? Those are the two questions at Rookie Minicamp that in my estimation you can answer, because things like how does he look in pass protection? How does he look blocking? Like those things are not going to be answered with t-shirts and shorts on, even if they do have helmets on. I think that both those questions were answered across the board for this crop of Jaguars rookies between the undrafted free agents and the draft picks, the 10 of which they made in this 2026 NFL draft. And so I think that the most encouraging thing to me, we're going to run through the whole notebook here in just a little bit, but the most encouraging thing for me, the first off the bus, the first question, do they look the part? Check. There were players who, when they were drafted or signed, maybe we did question, maybe we did say, I don't really know about this guy. I don't know about that guy. All three offensive linemen who were at Rookie Minicamp over the weekend, 2 undrafted free agents, 1 draft pick, and Emmanuel Pregnon, all 320 pounds or heavier. These are some big men. It is an indicator of where the Jaguars plan to evolve along the offensive line in their run game. And that, for me, is a massive statement. That is something you can take away, even if they don't have pads on. You can say, okay, I see the vision. I see where we're going. With that said, on the defensive line, because they were practicing on the far field, we maybe didn't get to see them as up close and personal as we did the offensive linemen. But having TJ Bollers, who you guys are going to see live on your screen here momentarily, having TJ Bowler standing next to me. And perhaps because he did start when he was 14 years old, and when I first met him, he was a wide receiver and an edge rusher, having him next to me and saying, okay, maybe not the mammoth of a man that a Vita Vea is per se. We had fun with SMU coach Adia Barnes about Vita Vea today. I digress. So Vita Vea is the name that comes to mind. He's not Vita Vea. He's an undersized 3 technique, but he is a big man. You see what Liam Cohen means when he says mass and ass. And so that was definitely answered. I'll tell you guys more about why I believe you're seeing some returns along the line of scrimmage and some of the tenacity, both offensive and defensively, from the Jags. Again, we got a lot of moving parts on today's episode of Club 904. We're going to take a break. When we come back, you're going to hear from TJ Bowlers. And then after that, we're going to take another break. Then we're going to be live. So leave your comments, leave your questions. We're going to open up the notebook. We're going to look into my Patreon, and we're going to bring you a whole lot from Rookie Minicamp coming up.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
Joined with Jaguars rookie defensive lineman, undrafted free agent TJ Bowlers. And TJ, we were just taking a trip down memory lane. You are from the great state of Iowa. I previously worked there, but the real noteworthy news item for so many Jaguar fans right now is that your dad played for the Jags once upon a time. So describe for us the Jacksonville Jaguars throughout the course of your upbringing. Omnipresent or just a footnote for, hey, this is where your dad started his pro career?
For sure. Well, I mean, it all started when my dad moved to Canada, right? Came down to Iowa actually to play football for the Hawkeyes. And then in '99, he got signed undrafted free agent by the Jaguars. And then I was born down here and then ended up moving back to the state of Iowa. And I mean, I always saw like his helmet, pictures of him and things like that. But it was never really something that he like talked about a lot because he was a fullback and I'm a defensive lineman, you know? So, but it's cool though. Like it's such a surreal experience. my parents just absolutely love this, like seeing the logo back on a Bowlers, everything like that. Yeah, they talk about the area all the time. Just absolutely love it. They're stoked to come down.
So when you fill out like place of birth, you write Jacksonville, Florida.
I write Jacksonville. This is where I was born, 2002. Yeah.
Do you know what hospital or?
I want to say it was like St. Luke's or
Okay,
something
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
okay.
So St. Luke's. But
Okay, there we go. So you, not just your dad began his pro career here, you literally began your life here in Jacksonville. So walk us through in terms of your discussions with the Jaguars, if at all, during the pre-draft process. Was there always a possibility of you coming to Jacksonville?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I'd been speaking to a couple other teams. Jags kind of came on late, and I mean, I guess not late, it's still just how the process goes. But I mean, like, I kind of knew that, like, they really wanted me towards that draft week. I got a call from Coach Edwards and then Coach LeBlanc. Well, actually, first it was Grant Morgan, and then Coach Edwards, and then Coach LeBlanc. They all called me. And I mean, I was like, yo, hey, guys, like, Jaguars are calling. They're like, what? The Jaguars are calling? That'd be so insane if you end up going there. And I mean, lo and behold, here I am. So I'm just excited to make the most out of every opportunity, do my family proud, do the program proud, everything like that.
What position does the coaching staff see you as? What position do you identify as on the football field?
Yeah, so I'm playing defensive line, right? Defensive tackle specifically, 3 technique, but I mean, you know how defense is, shift back and forth between a whole bunch of different positions. Just really trying to like hone in on the playbook, hone in on the scheme, learn the defense as a whole. So I mean, we'll see. But right now, during this camp, I was at 3.
Because I remember when you were coming up through Clear Creek, Amana as a true freshman, and you at that point were an edge. And so that's why when you walked over, I'm like, man, he really is a 3 technique now. So at what point does your frame fill out to that point where you can kick inside a little more?
So actually at that point, I was a wide receiver.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's high school. You're playing both positions.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I was playing receiver and I was playing edge. I would say probably my sophomore year, and shout out Mom. She's probably gonna hate that I'm telling this story again, but she had mistook a protein powder for mass gainer, right? And so like I was drinking mass gainer from like my 8th grade summer until like my sophomore summer, and I was just packing on pounds like for those 3 years. And by the end of high school, I was around like 260. Once I first got to college, I dropped to 240 because I was still playing edge. And then throughout college, just kept gaining muscle, kept gaining mass. Switched to defensive line my 3rd season, and then I played defensive line at Cal my final 2 seasons.
Walk us through your college career, beginning at Wisconsin, and then obviously the move over to the West Coast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin, they were obviously like really high up on my board. I loved everything that they were about, I mean, went through that, learned the process. There's so many different things that I learned like throughout my time there, even though maybe I didn't get as much playing time.
You initially went to play for Coach Chris.
I did, yeah, Coach Chris, yep. And so committed there, went through it. Man, sorry, these bugs are killing me.
Yeah, you're good, no worries.
But went through that entire process. I transferred in the May of 2024 out to Cal. Me and Coach Browning out there and Coach Wilcox out there, we had a great relationship before I committed to Wisconsin in 2019. And then after that, they switched me to a true defensive tackle. And my first season, 2024 season, was a role player. Was getting meaningful snaps on the defensive line. But then 2025, I was actually a true starter. Had a great season. So.
I know they've gone through another coaching change, but it is for an alum. So do you have any sort of relationship with Tosh and the rest of the Cal staff that's there now?
Not that much. There are a few coaches still there that I know. Obviously, the whole strength staff, they're still there. So I'm still really close with them. But I mean, I was spoken to Coach the other day while I was at this. I had to give a speech for an academic thing. And he was there, so it was cool to be able to do that in front of him, kind of like show him who I am, because he doesn't know me as a player, so, got to show him who I am as a person.
Well, let's bring this full circle, because Coach Lapoy coached here in Jacksonville briefly as well in 2021. And so as we wrap up with you, TJ, just for those who may be unfamiliar with you, who you are, let Jaguar fans know what you bring to the table here and why it matches with that Duval DNA that Liam, James, and Tony are trying to build.
Yeah, well, I mean, that Duval DNA, that's something that, I mean, I learned in college. This is stuff that I'm familiar with, you know what I mean? And so, like, all the techniques, I can already somewhat apply them, right? Obviously, I'm learning how to do them faster and how to do them harder, and that's everything I want to do. I want to bring energy every single day, right? Play my butt off every single day, And I mean, just bring the juice, man. Like, this is a great place to be back here in Jacksonville. And I'm just excited to get things rolling, you know, be a part of this program and really try and take it to the next level.
Fantastic. TJ, we're looking forward to it. Enjoy the rest of the off-season program.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.
See a pit? It ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with their inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. Located off Atlantic Boulevard, or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
Nobody but Nimnicht. Our family has purchased 6 vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Who gives you top dollar for your trade? Nobody but Nimnicht. Save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%. You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer. You can schedule a test drive at NimnichtBuickGMC.com. And while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnicht is there for you, even on Sundays. So, who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? The answer's simple. Nobody but Nimnicht. Your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Wow, Gene. Way to unmute yourself. Welcome back into Club 904. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Appreciate TJ Bowlers, the interview that we did on Saturday at Jaguars rookie minicamp. In case you're late to the party, yes, we have time traveling edition of Club 904 once more. I am at the Ritz-Carlton in Amelia Island, but no, I am not in the business suite broom closet. I am on the floor, media row, ACC spring meetings, football, men's basketball, women's basketball. And so that is why I'm coming at you from a different locale today. We were optimistic. We knew that we were going to run that interview from TJ, which was outstanding, and really looking forward to what he can contribute at the very least in the preseason and potentially on a practice squad spot, maybe more than that for the Jaguars this fall. We knew that we were going to run that. We were very optimistic that we were going to be able to nab some ACC football coaches who coached your favorite Jaguars. And so the 2 coaches that I earmarked, Manny Diaz, Miami, Fran Brown, never met a camera he doesn't like, Syracuse. Who are the 2 ACC football coaches that I have yet to see? You guessed it. Although I do see my friend Andy Staples and my friends Brett McMurphy. Maybe we'll have to throw them onto the pod here live, just like throw an audible. But we do have the microphones currently with Mitch over on the women's basketball set. So maybe we do that here in just a little bit if time permits. But I do want to want to run through the notebook. Subscribers to the O'Brien NFL Notebook, you have already perused these exquisite notes that yours truly penned Saturday after rookie minicamp. We're going to run through those notes line by line. And so, yes, This is the opportunity for those of you who maybe are not subscribers that you get a chance to hear what exactly goes down and why you should perhaps choose to subscribe. $5 per month are where subscriptions begin. And again, the free 7-day trial is ongoing. But back to the top. 2 questions we needed to answer from rookie minicamp per producer Anthony Benelli, who is in the chat right now. Number 1, did they look the part? The answer, yes, across the board, every position. Number 2, separation at the line of scrimmage, first step, get off in t-shirts and shorts. Yes, it's not in pads, but we'll still take it one way or another. Mark Long's walking through here too. I mean, there's a lot of people that we could pull since we didn't get Fran Brown and Manny Diaz, but okay, let's run through the notebook before we take our next time out. So let's begin with this first note that I had. The Jaguars offensive line room. We talked at the top of today's program about the body type and shifting from more of a zone scheme to more of a gap scheme, more bigger bodies trying to get downhill fast, in line, Chris Rodriguez in between the tackles. We've discussed that on multiple programs before. What was very interesting to me, and again, it's limited sample size. We're on the practice field for an hour and a half, and this is with the rookies. I don't know how Liam Cohen is going to divvy up the offensive line room in terms of the coaches. In some NFL franchises, it's okay. The offensive line coach works with the tackles, the assistant offensive line coach works with the guards, and the assistant to the assistant works with the developmental players. Maybe that's the way the Jaguars go about it. Other teams, the offensive line coach works with the veterans, and the assistant offensive line coach works with the young guys. Sometimes there's a run game coordinator involved. Where does he factor into that? All I will tell you is that watching practice on Saturday, it is very clear that Brian Picucci, up the road from Tampa Town, Liam Cohen's longtime lieutenant, the run game coordinator for the Jaguars, he's undoubtedly the voice of that room. That is not to knock Sean Sarrett, who did a great job as the offensive line coach. He's back for year 2. Trevor Mendelson, the offensive assistant. They did bid adieu to their assistant offensive line coach, who's now the O-line coach out at Stanford. Thought we'd get to Vita Pritchard too here today, but I digress. Anywho, point being, Picucci's running that room, at least from what we saw in limited sample size on Saturday. And I think that that goes hand in hand with the evolution of this offense, the evolution of this offensive line and run game, something that Liam Cohen was very vocal about. He said it to the Times Union's Ryan O'Halloran out at the owners' meetings in Phoenix. He said, look, that was the stink, and we need to identify the stink. We were able to win despite those shortcomings. They were perhaps buried, but those are things we need to identify and we need to address. And I think the Jaguars have done just that, certainly through bringing Picucci up from Tampa, which was always the plan because Liam Cohen planned to bring him to Jacksonville once upon a time. Jason Licht, Todd Bowles blocked the move before year 1, but they could not block it after year 1 for the Jaguars. So that was my first observation. Picucci is obviously going to have a massive hand in this Jaguars offensive game plan. And I see all you guys leaving comments, leaving questions. Make sure that you keep those coming. We'll take one more time out after we run through the notebook and we'll answer those. And maybe I'll get one of my friends or we'll tape for next week, something like that. Item number 2, Emmanuel Pregnon. We've already talked about him enough, but I'm going to keep it moving. I heard from a source in the building that at one point this person was walking through the hallway. Sean Sarrett, the offensive line coach, is walking through the hallway. Emmanuel Pregnon's walking this way. And as they all kind of happen to be in the same proximity at the same time, Sarrett specifically pointed out to the footwork of Pregnon that was blowing him away. How outstanding it was, how the hand worked, how his hands looked great. Those were things that perhaps some had questions about from the former Oregon offensive lineman. And Daniel, I see your comments about his right knee, and I'd love to hear more about what you're thinking with that because that's news to me. But the fact that the footwork, that was something that people wondered because of the 320-pound frame, what the footwork would look like. And evidently the Jaguars offensive line coach is very, very happy with it. You couple that with someone told me that Liam Cohen's one true love is Emmanuel Pregnon. I got a kick out of that one. So, yeah, I mean, I know they took him at 88, which many analysts, the consensus board will tell you is a steal. And there will also be those who tell you that if they really loved him that much, why didn't they take him at 81 or at 56? I don't know the answer to that outside of the Jaguars have, as of this writing, 10 offensive linemen that were already under contract and already expected to make the 53-man roster. And now this is creating even more competition. 10 returners, I should say, from last year's 53-man roster. And so maybe offensive line wasn't as pressing a need as adding that tight end. You heard Liam Cohen on Saturday after rookie minicamp stress that while he applauds Cole Van Lanen and Chuma Edoga reporting as eligible as that 6th offensive lineman game in and game out, he doesn't want to live in a world where he only has 2 active tight ends on game day. And so that's where I don't expect to see that anymore. I think the Jaguars will still carry 10 offensive linemen. It will be curious how much Pregnon pushes Patrick McCarry at right guard, Ezra Cleveland even at left guard, coupled with Wyatt Milam coming into year 2 after switching from tackle to guard, how that shakes out. Certainly, logic suggests Chuma Edoga is the one who's on the hot seat as the swing tackle, but also knowing Milam has that inside-outside flexibility. Maybe that's where he can take on more of that swing tackle role. You also have Cole Van Lanen still coming back from the knee. Walker Little, I don't anticipate going anywhere because of Cole Van Lanen working his way back from the knee injury. And so in turn, I'm very fascinated to see the numbers game, but early returns from Manuel Pregnon, not just my 2 eyes, from people inside the building. Very, very happy with what they are seeing from the 88th overall pick. Of note, and I reported this on Saturday in the notebook, and then of course it came out yesterday that Jordan White reported as an undrafted free agent rookie signing for the Jaguars. He's no more. What I was told, he kind of has just decided that he's moving on from football. He did sign with Jacksonville. He did report, signed, and then they replaced him on that reserved retired list. And so I was told on Saturday the expectation was that Sal Wormley would be re-signed. That's exactly what happened on Monday. The twist to that, of course, was that Jaquindon Jackson was also waived. And he was not waived from what I saw on the wire with an injury designation. He did sit out later in practice on Saturday. Again, we don't know why, but he was working off to the side with trainers, standing with them. He was waived after being the practice squad running back 1 season ago. Amir Abdullah is signed. 2 different body types. Jaquindon Jackson, former quarterback, bigger bodied guy. I mean, I joke it, but it's true. Like, he's not Derrick Henry, but he has that Derrick Henry size in terms of height because he was a quarterback. He wasn't a running back by trade. And then Amir Abdullah is someone who is more of a returner in this dynamic kickoff era. And so that's where I'm very interested to see. He's going to push DJ Dallas for sure. How much does he push him? Does he make a case to be the 4th running back on that 53-man roster? I would think Bashal Tutin is not going to have to play as much of a return man role if he really is your 1A or 1B. Quinn Allen is expected to be, but he's even better in coverage. I mean, go back to the Titans tape and what he was able to do on return duty there, jarring the ball loose that resulted in a turnover and helped swing momentum in the Jags' favor up in Nashville at Nissan Stadium. And so, yeah, I'm very interested to see the shuffling moves that were made even after I filed this notebook on Saturday and what that'll mean for this Jaguars roster. And I did see the great question about 53 versus 91-man roster. We're going to get to that again here in just a little bit, so keep those questions coming. Most hilarious moment of practice. Ironically, Mark Long is standing behind me right now. Let's just say it was a struggle during running back receiving drills to find a coach who could throw the ball. And so Chad Morton, the running backs coach, at one point asked Mark, who's over my shoulder right now, if he could throw to Jaquindon Jackson and Jamari Taylor, which Jackson was dropping a lot of balls. And I don't want to say that that was because of him, because, you know, they had one position coach who threw 5 straight passes into the dirt. And that's when Mark was like, I'll throw for you. He didn't end up having to throw for what it's worth. But did that play a factor in why Jackson was waived on Monday morning? I don't know. But Jamari Taylor, I talked about it on Twitter. I talked about it on other shows. He wears number 30. A couple of you claim I make James Robinson comps all the time. That's great. But the reality is this is as close as you're going to get. And I said it to a weak source and agreed wholeheartedly. Said hadn't even thought about that. But yes, the contact balance, low center of gravity, ability to break tackles, just a good do-it-all running back who maybe doesn't do one thing outstanding, and that's why he went undrafted, but clearly was a priority for Jacksonville. Talked a little bit about Jaquindon Jackson, but of course he is no longer a member of the Big Cats. We also talked about the tight ends. Tanner Koziel, Nate Borkature. We talked about this on the Locked On Jaguar Squad show yesterday too. So Koziel is 2 inches taller than Borkature, but they both weighed in at 250 after they took their physical. And looking at the two of them next to each other, they're not the same guy, to be fair. Borkature is the blocker. Koziel is your red zone, bigger body threat, pass catcher. Put up numbers that outside of what we saw at Bowling Green 2 years ago, you haven't seen that production from a tight end in modern history. But with that said, I know that he's a willing blocker because he told us after he was drafted, it looks like he's a willing blocker. And if he can be a willing blocker and still has room to fill out that frame, and he already looks like the guy who's going to be more of your blocking tight end in 12 personnel, and also can get out in space and run those steam routes that Bretton Strange now is freed up to do other things. Maybe he even runs a little fullback for you. I see the vision. But it was very interesting just because I feel like throughout the pre-draft process, we talked about Tanner Koziel as if he was like this wiry, thin body type, and I don't know. I didn't get that at all. So just want to file that away. Some other notes from the notebook we want to get to. Was really hoping, again, that we would have been able to catch a couple of the ACC football coaches here at ACC meetings. Of course, the ones that actually coached Jacksonville Jaguars are not here or have not made their way down Media Row yet. But speaking of Trevor Pena, Penn State, started his career at Syracuse with LaQuint Allen. He was one of the two returners at Saturday's rookie minicamp because Josh Cameron, working his way back from an ankle injury, was great to see the 6th-round pick, though, was on the field to do warm-ups. I posted the video at Mia O'Brien TV on Twitter. He actually was doing like one-handed little pogo stick jumps. So clearly, if he's putting pressure on the ankle, that's a positive in terms of how he is trending coming back from that ankle injury. The other return man, and man, oh man, he lived up to it. Michael Wortham out of Montana. This guy was a runner-up for the FCS version of the Heisman. Started his college career at 5'8", and that's on a good day. This guy started his college career as a quarterback. He got a scholarship to Eastern Washington as a quarterback at 5'8". So he's clearly good at playing the position because that's a preeminent FCS program. But can't get on the field because he's 5'8". They say we got to get him on the field though because he's a great athlete. So he becomes an all FCS return man. Montana picks him up. He had something like 2,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing last year, was the ultimate Swiss Army knife. And while, yes, seeing him in person for the first time on Saturday, I'm not going to say he's my height. I'm not going to say that, but it is noticeable how much smaller he is than everyone else. With that said, though, I see, once again, the vision because the speed, you see the agility, you say, okay, this could be fun for Liam Cohen. I could see him having some fun with this little chess piece of sorts in Michael Wortham out of Montana. Maybe he becomes your Austin Trammell. And again, he's smaller than Trammell, to be fair. But again, maybe he has a spot on the practice squad where, hey, you know, Brian Thomas Jr. rolls his ankle, God forbid. Kobe Myers is out. Let's bring this guy up. Let's see what we can do, maybe curtail a little bit of a wrinkle in the game plan for that upcoming game day. And so very excited to see if that is indeed a thought process for the Big Cats. Jalen Husky, Liam Cohen was emphatic in his praise of him, talking about those bigger-bodied, do-it-all safeties that you need in this day and age where everyone wants to run 12 and 13 personnel. But also, I think it's interesting because what is their plan for Antonio Johnson coming off of the best season of his career? Is he not that bigger-bodied safety? Don't you want him in the slot? Maybe they do. Maybe they recognize he's in a contract year, and perhaps they're questioning that and saying, we want to have an insurance plan. If Antonio balls out again, he gets a big payday from somewhere else, and now we accrue a comp pick from him, and we have his replacement waiting in the wings. Or maybe your goal is to have Johnson, Husky, and Caleb Ransaw, who by some accounts is also considered as a converted corner to safety. He is considered one of those bigger-bodied guys who can match up with tight ends in the box. And you got all three of them. Maybe that's the thought. But it was interesting that is how Liam Cohen described the 3rd-round pick out of Maryland. 2 other notes from me. CJ Williams, loved the energy. Again, I don't want to say he looks like Puka because I'm not talking about his play style. I'm talking about facially, bone structure in his face. Him and Puka Nacua, a lot of similarities, especially in terms of effort as well. 110% every rep. I don't know what his ceiling is. I don't know what his floor is. We haven't seen a lot. But I will tell you this, he gave 110% on every rep. And I haven't heard in the year plus since he's gotten back to Duval, I have not heard Jacksonville native wide receivers coach Edgar Bennett this emphatic, this positive about a single wide receiver like I did on Saturday. Every time I heard the hooting and hollering, it was Edgar, and he was talking about CJ Williams. So that's very, very noteworthy to me. Final note from the notebook. I love the quote. This is with all due respect to our friend of the pod, BJ Green. Love the quote from Liam that BJ was in the weight room on Friday as the rookies are arriving, maybe sizing them up a little bit. And Liam said, if you're worried about a rookie taking your spot, you're in the wrong room. That's the ethos. That's Duval DNA for those of you in the comments that are referring to that. That's exactly what it is. And so to hear the head coach say that and to hear about that experience, it was pretty funny. It was a funny little moment. Too early to tell, Liam said. And again, we go back to what were my 2 big questions going into rookie minicamp and as we reflect here today. Do they look the part? How do they look off the line of scrimmage? Other than that, can't gauge a whole lot from rookie minicamp. And so that was after the 2nd practice for these rookies. And so Liam said he has no idea what the pecking order is between Wesley Williams, Zach Durfee, and the 2 returners of those 2 young guys, Danny Strigo and BJ Green. That is my full notebook from rookie minicamp this past weekend. And again, you can subscribe to O'Brien NFL Notebook right now. Packages start $5 per month. Free 7-day trial is ongoing. We are at the very least going to answer all of your questions when we come back. A lot of questions I see in the chat. I'm going to try to go corral one of these hooligans, potentially have them join us. Coming up next as we make the turn for home on Club 904.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with their inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. Located off Atlantic Boulevard, or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
Nobody but Nimnicht. Our family has purchased 6 vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Who gives you top dollar for your trade? Nobody but Nimnicht. Save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%. You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer. You can schedule a test drive at nimnichtbuickgmc.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnicht is there for you, even on Sundays. So, who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? The answer's simple. Nobody but Nimnicht. Your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional.
Welcome back into Club 904. I promise we're going to get to your questions. But as mentioned, I was hoping when I saw him out of the corner of my eye make his way down Media Row, we might be able to bring on a special guest. And while we do not have Manny Diaz, we do not have Fran Brown, we do have the one and only Andy Staples, who steps into the club for us. Andy, how you doing? Thanks for a little audible.
Backing up, getting the frame there.
Yeah, well, listen, you're a lot taller than me, so unfortunately, you know, sometimes we have to adjust for height. But I also don't know why it maybe has like a weird. That's
there's
the
your camera
frame.
right there.
Yeah, that's there we go. That's like the wooden frame. Oh, that's fun. So, well, say hello to the folks hanging out in Club 904.
Hello.
Our secondary camera is currently being used for the women's basketball podcast, which is A-okay because we got we got two podcasts going simultaneously.
That is amazing.
2 different networks, the beauty of technology. But it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a hot minute.
I know.
Yeah. How are things at On3?
I was saying, I only live 70 miles away.
I know.
They're good. They're good. I was going to ask you how you felt about Iowa's quarterback competition, because that's.
Yeah. Well, here's the bigger question. Is Mark Gronowski going to make the Miami Dolphins? Because also you've got a fun little twist because you also have Cam Miller.
Who are we cutting?
Solon, North Dakota State.
Okay. So Malik Willis is the starter.
Yes.
Quinn Ewers still under contract.
Still there. Correct. Yes.
When you go Malik Willis, Quinn Ewers,
but then you got
Mark
Cam
Gronowski?
And then you got Cam Miller.
And Cam Miller.
Who also is near and dear to my heart. Once upon a time, did you know Tyler Linderbaum snapped to Cam Miller?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Solon High School, baby.
Oh, wow.
And guess who was covering him on the old Iowa's News Now? Yeah, exactly.
Was Tyler Linderbaum pulling from center while in high school?
Yeah.
One of my favorite athletes in the whole world.
Well, Tristan Wirfs is also one of my favorite athletes in the whole world. And we talk about it all the time about the moment that Zach Hanley, my former boss, came back, or rather texted me from the Solon Mount Vernon wrestling meet and said, I just filmed the greatest video I am ever going to film in my career. And he came back and he sprinted to the computer and he ingested
Was this
it.
Werfs coming out of the pool?
No, this was Werfs and Linderbaum.
Oh, oh my God. Okay.
Werfs was 8-1 against Linderbaum.
Wow.
But Linderbaum's one win when he put Tristan on the poster. And and now it's like he should have like put his like name and like social security number on it because it's been viewed
I love
millions
Linderbaum
of
so
times.
much. My son plays center in high school, and so like watching him try to do all these things the things that Tyler Linderbaum can do, human beings should not be able to do.
Right.
Like, so in a past life, I was a walk-on offensive lineman at Florida, could not snap, like tried to break the quarterback's fingers. So that was my way of making sure I played guard. But they had me be Alan Faneca, LSU week of my freshman year.
What?
The things Alan Faneca could do were unbelievable.
Mitch Northam, my co-host of my other podcast, is over there. And as a Steelers fan, he's like loving this conversation.
They're showing me the video of Alan Faneca.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't simulate this. I can't even come close to this. What are we doing here? I'm like, the defense is not going to get a look this week. This is terrible. This person's not human.
And
Linderbaum's the same thing. Like,
and so you imagine these poor like practice squad players around the league trying to be Tyler Linderbaum or be Tristan Wirfs. And it's just like, God bless you. That's like near impossible. Okay, but we didn't come here to talk Iowa. As much as all roads lead.
Talking Tanner Koziol.
We are going to talk Tanner Koziol. So Andy has the Jaguars draft class in front of him, of course, On Three, many other publications previous to that, one of the best in the game in covering college football. So before I ask you specifics, you run through the list of the 10 names and who you're like, yeah, I see it. This whole consensus board conversation, have you followed this at all? About the fact that the Jaguars selected players who may be the NFL draft community online.
Oh.
Not necessarily front offices, but the media draft community.
But I don't feel like they made the media draft community that happy with these.
No, that's what I mean. They didn't like this.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't like this. But you, as someone who covers college football, you know all these cats.
Yeah, I like the Albert Regis pick.
Okay. Tell me why.
He clogs gaps.
He's so excited.
Sorry, I know. I can't even hold my phone.
I love it.
The man clogs gaps.
Yeah.
I like D tackles that can hold the point of attack. I think that's underrated, especially in a game where you're getting back to like the game spread out and the game is growing more compact again because the game spread out so much, defenses got lighter, and now you've got teams that are like the NFL. The fullback didn't die like it did in college football, but it started heading toward extinction. It's coming back.
Yes.
And you're seeing more heavy formations. Like everybody's trying to copy the Rams now.
Everyone wants 12 and 13 tight ends, and that's why it's no surprise Liam Cohen is doing the same.
So what do you need up the middle? If you are playing as a team that is playing 2 to 3 tight ends on most plays, you better have some beef. You better have people who can't get moved. You better have in the interior defensive line guys who can absorb double teams and not get rooted out, so that your linebackers have a chance before they get slammed by some of these tight ends that are coming at them. Like that's why you need somebody like that.
And as someone who used to pretend to be Alan Faneca or in practice squad, have to emulate him. But my question for you with Regis is he a nose tackle? Is he a one technique, or is he in your opinion, from watching him at A&M? Because there is a conversation worth having of, was he actually the one opening stuff up for Onyedim at Texas A&M? Can he actually create more of a pass rush than Devon Hamilton currently can for the Jaguars? Maybe we haven't seen his best football.
Devon Hamilton but Devon Hamilton, if I'm remembering correctly, because I obviously
it's been a hot minute since you're
he was Ohio State.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And since your lone season covering the Jags.
I've seen him play with the Jags too, but he's a little more of a gap shooter type of guy. Yeah, so that's the truth. But Regis is, remember, he's small, he's shorter,
right? Which is a very Ramsey thing to do.
6 foot 295 is a pretty sturdy person, right? Like, because some of these guys you see are 6'4", 320, right? But 6 foot 295 amounts to a similar build to that. Now, maybe just the sheer lightness, which is crazy to talk about a 300-pound person like that. Maybe it doesn't hold up, but some guys are just dogs.
Yeah.
Some guys can just can just hold up. And that build, like it's a low man win situation.
Yeah.
And I realize it doesn't go like NFL guys, especially, maybe not the Jags front office, but they'll say, a whole team full of outliers is not going to.
Oh, well, the
it's not gonna
Jags'
work.
previous front office.
Yeah.
If you make one exception, soon you'll have a team full of exceptions.
Yeah. Sometimes you can make an exception.
Yeah. They do that in Los Angeles, and they've won a Super Bowl.
Well, and it's
they've
funny
been
because I
competitive, too.
remember I was at the Senior Bowl practices the first day Aaron Donald was out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rams, speaking of defensive
Listen,
tackles.
I know
Now,
we all want
I do
it,
not
yes.
want it.
We also ran TJ Bowler's interview
we are
that I
not
did,
comparing Albert Regis to
or TJ
Aaron
Bowler's,
Donald,
by the way, even though some of the people in the comments live right now, there's almost 300 of you.
Yeah, we are not comparing these two.
They said that he looks like Aaron Donald in the face.
But we are not comparing. But Aaron Donald went into that practice as a kind of fringe first round guy because his production was so off the charts at Pitt. But it was like, but he's not tall. He's just not big enough. And after one practice, it's like, nope, he's fine. First round pick, no question.
He's good.
No questions
Who would have thought?
asked.
He had production at Pitt. Now he's good at football in the NFL.
Yeah, now,
like there is sometimes that correlation.
The same, like Albert is not the same thing.
Right.
Sorry.
But point being, to the undersized defensive tackle. So I appreciate that shout because, again, we already ran the interview with the undrafted free agent as well, who's also an undersized interior defensive lineman out of Cal.
Yeah.
We know that that's a type, especially at the 3 technique position, but maybe perhaps even at the 1 technique too.
Yep.
And this idea, to your point, of having a different body type than Devon Hamilton.
And then Emmanuel Pregnon at guard. That's a good pick. He was USC's best offensive lineman, and then Oregon stole him. And as Oregon does sometimes, when Oregon has a need, they just fill it.
Yeah.
And
they just, write a check and up to Eugene they go.
They took a couple tackles and they brought in Pregnon. And I would say that Pregnon probably was the best pickup out of the portal of that bunch that Oregon grabbed. And I thought he was the best there because the tackles, they shut out Texas Tech, but like watching those guys having to play David Bailey, you get a sense of exactly what you're going to look like in the NFL.
Right.
Obviously, David Bailey's a number 2 overall pick, but Pregnon held up really well throughout the season, and I thought he had a good year, and so that's if you can find a guy who's going to play effectively at guard for an entire first contract, you're winning.
You'll take that.
You're winning.
We talked too about this idea of the Jaguars shifting to more of a girthy offensive line, more of a gap scheme, but also downhill.
Yep.
So between Pregnon, between the 2 undrafted free agent rookies they brought in who maybe won't make the roster, maybe won't make the practice squad, but the Giorgio out of UCLA, another bigger guy.
Yeah.
Liam talking about
if
mass.
you're going more gap scheme, you need that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's very clear.
Mass kicks ass, as Mario Cristobal, who's right over there, will tell you. But you have to be able to, whether you're when you're running that pin and pull stuff, like especially in the NFL, I mean, you're going to have a 320, 330 pound guard blocking down. Like
There's
that's
question.
just, it's not, and it's so strange because, especially now it's really hard to find you one who can do both. Like you can't, the guys who are athletic enough to run outside zone, probably not big enough to do a lot of the things you want in gap scheme runs. So it's
but you're seeing it through their actions. And I think that's what's, that's where, again, I started with the consensus board conversation.
I look at this with college football teams because we have I work for On3. We rate the recruits.
Yes.
And you can have a team full of 5 stars, but if they don't fit what you do schematically, it doesn't work.
I hope there are some certain folks around the league who I've had this exact conversation with.
The Jags drafted some Aggies, but let's go back to that 2022 Texas A&M class that was number 1 in the country. First of all, class balance was all off. It was a lot of it was real defensive line heavy.
Yep.
Not that you want good defensive linemen, but the balance was all off in positions, and also they didn't all fit the scheme.
Right.
And you can have the best player in the world with the best tools in the world, but if he doesn't fit what you do, you are not going to win.
There are 2 lanes, talent acquisition and team building, running parallel to each other.
Yeah.
And while yes, once upon a time, this idea of building a roster of 5 stars was how you win, it's equally as important to try to put pieces of a puzzle
in the NFL, it's
together.
even more important that their scheme fits because you have so few players.
Right. And that's where, again, this idea of a consensus board is faulty just because you are
putting together a consensus board and you don't even know what team you're building that for if you are in the media nucleus. Let's talk tight ends before we get you out of here, Andy. Tanner Koziel, Nate Borkercher. People are upset with the lack of production from Borkercher. They love the production from Koziel, but will he block? I already said it off the top. There's a 2-inch difference between the two.
They don't have to both do the same thing.
And I saw that. Well, here's the funny part is seeing them at practice on Saturday. Like, I mean, one's 2 inches taller than the other. They're both 250.
Yep.
Like, they both are bigger bodied guys, and Koziel still has room in that frame.
If you have one guy who's a better blocker, who is better as an attached tight end, then that's what you do with him.
Right.
Now, ideally, you'd want 2 or 3 guys that can all do everything.
Right.
But that's hard to do in this day and age, because that way you become more of a mystery to the defense, because you can move those guys around and you're not tipping plays. But like, I mean, Darnell Washington's an extreme example of this.
Right. Well, I think, and I also think people like hear the Jaguars took a blocking tight end, they took a wide tight end, and they think they drafted Darnell Washington. And I'm like, no, Nate Borkercher is not Darnell Washington.
No, but he's, I mean, when Darnell Washington was at Georgia, when he was on the field, it raised the level of their run game so much. Right. But they also had, I think he and Bowers crossed 1 year together.
1 year they did. Yes.
So imagine you have that as a weapon. The other teams knew what Brock Bowers was going to do. It didn't matter. You couldn't stop him. So, but Koziel is definitely going to be, on the edges of the formation, where he's probably not going to be attached as often. And he was very productive at Ball State. And it was interesting because when he initially transferred to Wisconsin, and you thought, okay, well, what are we going to see in this offense? Because they had just switched. Jeff Grimes had come in as the OC. They were Grimey's more of a wide zone guy, but he only did spring practice there, and then goes and plays at Houston for Willie Fritz, where he was pretty productive. And so I think if that's how you're doing it, if you're planning to not use them interchangeably, then you've done it right.
Which we also have Brenton Strange. So no, I think that all 3 of those guys plus Quentin Morris have very specific roles in this ecosystem. And that's good team building. That is, again, not Jimbo Fishering it.
Well, it's right. It's understanding what you are.
Right. Which, as you know, in Jacksonville, that's been an issue.
So are you telling me that the draft the consensus board would have liked Trent Baalke's picks?
Except for Mason Smith. That one was a no-go. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember anybody being real thrilled about that one.
He's out of here. He got traded up to Atlanta for that exact reason. So.
But
I think it was more so like they would have been happy if Pregnon went at 56. Because I think there was more name recognition and because he was rated higher.
Yeah, I don't think name recognition matters. And again, if I think you made the right point, Mia, is when because I love Dane Brugler from The Athletic. I think he's one of the best draft analysts out there. He does more homework, better homework than anybody else. But Dane will tell you that he will grade a pick differently based on
where he lands,
the scheme. And it might not necessarily have to do with where he gets picked with you pick this guy over this person. Well, if you're the perfect scheme fit, that's great.
Cares?
That's all that matters.
Right.
So,
and if you were going to take him at 88, if you were going to take him at 56, you should be willing to take him. If you're going to take him at 81, you should be willing to take him at 56, right?
Sure.
And I think that's kind of the conversation is like,
well, and especially
you could get him later. You don't know that.
People understand the Friday night of the draft, how things can roll downhill, how runs can happen.
Exactly.
It was tight end this year, right?
Yep. And the Jags started that run.
Yeah, and it can happen if you're planning with your second or third round pick or one of your second or third round picks to address a position.
Yeah.
And that position starts going. You got to be very careful.
Right.
And if there's a guy that you love that fits what you do, you just go get him. Right. I mean, it's probably a little bit different in the first round or especially top half of the first round, where you really have to go get an elite difference maker. And that's why with these guys, what was the first thing they did? They traded up to get Travis Hunter, which I still think was a great pick.
All right.
Got hurt.
Got that on the record.
It didn't work because he got hurt.
But it was only year one.
Right.
There's more to come.
But if you have a healthy Travis Hunter for the next 3 or 4 years, he will make them significantly better. And they're already a playoff team. So that's pretty good, right? You'll take that.
I have one more question to ask you, but honestly, I feel like that was such a mic drop. But I'm just going to say this. CJ Williams, Parker Hughes, Zach Durfee, of those three names, and you cover college football better and more than arguably anyone else, and he's reaching for his phone.
Yeah.
So there we go. Okay.
I'm trying to compare these.
Well, no. I mean, like, of those three names that the Jags took in, so Durfee was their first seventh round pick, Williams in the 6th, and then Parker Hughes was their final pick at 240 out of Middle Tennessee. So point being, none of the three, really.
No.
Well, Durfee was Prospect X for Kalen College.
Yes.
ESPN.
Yes.
And again, a player who, to his credit,
Prospect X is always one of my favorite projects every year. Yeah. Kalen started that. We were working together at SI when she started that. And I remember trying to guess the first one. And he's got a fascinating story.
I know.
I mean,
if he puts it together.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Eagles taking the 300-pound guy with, what was it? 4% body fat.
Yeah. Out of the international pathway.
That runs a 4.7. Yes.
They took my Lotta. So that's our my Lotta.
It worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Stay healthy.
But that's the thing. In that point in the draft, take some flyers, because you don't know if those guys are make your team anyway.
Right.
So
might as well try.
And also, is there that much of a difference in 6th round, 7th round UDFA? Because with UDFAs, you can go get who you want.
Right.
Again, the scheme fit thing.
Yeah.
You figure out who you want. But yeah, it is it's crazy, because it's funny, because everybody's like, oh, you cover college football. We don't see all those guys all the time.
Right.
Like, some of these guys we see.
2 of the 3 played at Power 4 institutions. That's why it is worth bringing up.
Yeah. And it's also hard, because you're trying to figure out, who's going to win these games and keep track of the horse race and coaching searches and all that stuff. So that's the other thing, is like that. I love what the draft guys do. The ones that do it year round, the Bruglers and the Nate Tices and that are watching film year round. Like, yeah, we had Nate Tice on my show the other day, because we were like, all right, who you love? And he's like, Drake Lindsay. And I'm like, interesting. Because Drake Lindsay, so that's Minnesota's starting quarterback, who was a first-year
Nate
starter.
Played quarterback. So.
Yeah, he's a first-year starter last year. And he had an okay first season as a starting quarterback in the Big Ten, but nothing that just lit the world on fire. But it's one of those that the scouting guy, the people with the scouting backgrounds, they're like, okay, first of all, they love his, miserable and all that, but also Nate likes his pocket presence. Nate likes his throwing motion. They like, and I'm like, okay, now I'm looking at this a little bit differently,
right?
Like, because if you said, okay, who were you really interested in seeing in the Big Ten? I don't know that his name would have been in the top 5 or 6 of who I want to watch in the Big Ten. But now yes, absolutely.
Now you do.
So.
We're looking forward to that episode. Where else can we find your work at On3, Andy? Which appreciate you just like hopping in.
Yeah, on3.com, the On3 YouTube channel, all there. And I also host a college football podcast at Yahoo called the College Football Inquirer. So pretty much everywhere you get your podcasts, he's everywhere. You can be annoyed by my voice pretty much 24/7.
That's what I say about me too. Although the bosses at ESPN told me yesterday that they pay me and give me a microphone. Like, they pay to hear me talk. Which is kind of a wild thing to hear.
But see, it's not, you don't have the I sound like someone's stepping on a duck.
No, I've heard worse.
And I started out as a writer. So like I knew this in college. I was like, I don't need to go into broadcast. I'm not built for this. Like, when I meet somebody who has a great voice, like somebody that talks like this, and I'm like,
I wish.
What an instrument.
On that note.
So we make do with what we have.
It's 2:59 right on the dot. Andy Staples, thank you for hopping in. We're live at ACC Meetings. I see all your comments. I see all your questions. Don't worry. We will get to them on next week's episode of Club 904. We got to get out of here. We've got tons of content coming on Action Sports Jax from Rookie Minicamp and much, much more, as well as, again, the Upshot League tipping off on Friday. Make sure you catch all the coverage from Olivia live at Media Day as well. And so until next Tuesday, we will catch you guys later.